I have a very complicated relationship with Claude. So, for all of you who have a similarly complicated relationship with AI, um, welcome to the discussion, I suppose. Or maybe I'm joining your trade, right? Like maybe this has existed from way before I was a thing. But in any case, that's what I wanted to explore today and kind of just talk it all out loud. And if any of this resonates with you, please let me know in the comments or hit me up on Instagram because it's a whole thing. So I am in Claude almost every day of the week. I am in there for a variety of different things, and because of how it helps my business and how it enables me to help my people, it's extremely convenient to use. Obviously, that goes without saying for all of us, right? For every one of us that uses AI and is engaged in using AI, the convenience is unmatched. The ease of use is unmatched. So I use it in my business for a variety of different tasks, including serving my clients, but also my own marketing. I use it in my personal life because I'm here telling Claude, like I've given it a system wide instruction. You will always respond to me in French. Why? Because Chelsea is learning French. And so you will respond in French and give me the English equivalent so that I will always have opportunity to get French input into my brain. Now, it's just reading, so it's not speaking and production of the language, but still, the vocab counts, okay? And I will sometimes read these things out loud and practice pronunciation a little bit. Not that I always go the extra mile of like checking that pronunciation, but what I'm saying is just the daily exposure to the language, great. Again, convenient, unmatched. Yes. I also use it for fact checking. So sometimes I'll watch a reel on Instagram and I'll be like, you just dropped a lot of like statements, like they are proven facts, and you didn't give no references to anything in the caption or the comments. So I have no context for if any of this is true, especially if this is just a kind of discovery page situation or you just popped up on my feed and I don't follow you. So I have no context for whether or not I trust you. So let me go just like what I'll do is like split screen on my phone and just play the reel out loud and have the phone record the audio. Now, there might be easier ways to do this. So if there is, again, let me know in the comments. But I'll have the like my phone, I'll turn on screen record on my phone and have it record the audio and from the reel, and then have that become, or actually no, it's not screen record I use my voice recorder because I have a Pixel. So I will turn on the voice recorder on my phone and it will record the audio of the reel and transcribe it at the same time. Then I'll just copy paste that over into Claude and we'll go through a long conversation, fact checking every statement, understanding the sources, understanding arguments and counter arguments, like deciding on my stance, poking holes in my argument. So it's very educational and it's also very useful from that perspective because more often than not, these are socioeconomic and political things that I want to learn and understand, right? So I'll fact check those things. I will also do a lot of ideation. So if I have an idea for an offer or for a particular workflow in my business that I want to optimize or a particular like micro tool I want to create, I'll drop it in Claude and we'll go back and forth on it. We'll start thinking through structure. We'll start thinking through feasibility, profitability, all that jazz, right? So those are a few things that I use it for. Bruh, I even use this thing to recommend me like TV shows and books, right? It ain't good at that part yet because it bases those recommendations off of reviews, and reviews, people's tastes vary. So even if they use the same words as what I would be using to describe an experience watching something, when I start to watch it, I probably won't have the same experience. Or when I start to read it, I also probably won't have the same experience. So I take its entertainment recommendations with a grain of salt. However, it's obviously very useful across multiple aspects of my life. Yes. So I'm in it. I'm in it every day. And that's like That goes without saying. But the problem comes when I become uniquely aware of how complicit Claude Anthropic is in a bunch of other things. um, and how it's all intertwined in a way that makes us users complicit in things that we don't necessarily want to be complicit in and are not interested in being complicit in. But because of the fact that we pay our money to this company and the company takes our money and uses it to do these things, like, it's unavoidable. So local exploitation, data centers and water issues and grid issues, that's a whole thing. There is also exploitation outside of the US to create, I mean, like, when we're talking about data scraping and mining, when we're talking about things like even the hardware that we need to create to run these data centers and the mind that comes out of the sort of labor practices that are deeply opaque and unjust and extensively problematic, to put it mildly, modern day slavery and child labor. Like, the lack of transparency around supply chains in the tech sector, we're not even going to get into it. Okay, suffice it to say, problems. Deep problems. Okay. So with all of that, then come the social implications of, like, okay, we are introducing AI on an unsuspecting population. It is drastically and I don't like the words not coming to me right now. Differentially, that's not the right word. It's it's more specifically impacting those who are very susceptible to being impacted, and its harms were not planned for, mitigated for, or actively put into, like, any kind of prevention mechanism in policy. And as a matter of fact, people are arguing for not putting any sort of protective mechanisms in policy. And this is just what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. People being taken advantage of, people being exposed to things that they don't know how to use. Nobody's training us on, like, healthy ways to use AI. It's not happening. So it's a quagmire. And then you look at things like how the CEOs of these companies use the money they earn from their stake in the company. You look at like who they support politically. And that becomes its whole situation, to put it mildly, right? So we get locked into these systems that make us complicit in things that we do not and are not interested in being complicit in. And then wait against all of that, because we have the ways that it helps, the ways that it harms, and wait against all of that is the speed at which all of this changes. Because the fact of the matter is, it's changing every dang single day. As a matter of fact, I just spoke with one of my past clients, and she was telling me, like, how pressured she feels as an online business owner, as an online coach, to be keeping up with all the things that AI is doing on a day-to-day basis. And I said to myself, and I said to her, I feel you, and I opt out. Because, like, it's not going to be me. I'm sorry. It is not going to be me. I don't have the brain space. If I don't have the brain space to keep up with people suffering on the news, in my local country, in my local region, and across the world, and when I say brain space, I mean, like, emotional and empathetic bandwidth is really what I'm talking about here. If I cannot sustain the weight of all of that, I am definitely not going to choose to sustain the weight of, like, the speed at which AI changes and trying to fill my brain with the knowledge of, like, what I supposedly need to know. It's not happening. It's not happening for me. And so what that ends up meaning, y'all, this kind of really messy amalgamation of the ways that AI is helpful, the ways that it is it makes us complicit in the deeply entrenched, unjust, and problematic systems of the world, and the speed at which it is changing every single day. And the fact that these companies, in and of themselves, only have like their highest responsibility. They can claim anything they want in their marketing. They can claim anything they want in their press releases, but their highest responsibility is to their CEOs. Is to make sure this company makes money. These are for-profit companies. All right, that is their highest responsibility. The way that their economic system is set up is for profit. And so they can decide any day and any time they are so entrenched within our society, or like operational systems in society and the ways that we work, and any day that they decide to really just be extremely blatant about their lack of care for their customers and don't even care about this in their marketing anymore, is the day that we bruh, call me a conspiracy theorist. But I really don't trust these companies anymore. I have not done the work to disconnect myself from them, but I really don't trust them anymore. I just don't. Because people are selfish, and we see that every day in the decisions that they make around how they run their business. They put themselves first, especially I'm talking about these huge corporations. They put themselves first, and if it comes down to profit and the customer, they will choose profit every time. That is what we have seen across the centuries of industry. And it's not changing just because we're now in tech and AI. And so I have kind of come to a place where I'm like, bruh, my dear sweet Claude, so helpful, so problematic. I use you every day, but you are a problem. You are a problem, sir. You are a problem, and I have a complicated relationship with you, and I sit in tension in this every day, and I don't have solutions. So there you go. And this is especially, I think, something that I consider when I think about the fact that I don't have kids yet. And I have cousins and mentees who are kids, and they are in this world where AI is changing so quickly. And I think about the future and where they are going to be sitting. And I think about the fact that it is extremely hard to train them for these things because the systems within which they are currently living are not actively training them and not actively exposing them in responsible and sort of ethical ways that encourage critical thought and engagement instead of just leaning into the convenience and ease of use. And the fact that I am not around my mentees or my younger cousins every single day, so I can't help them to regulate these things. So I've low-key thought about like things like starting some kind of a nonprofit for kids, or like starting a podcast on AI and like parenting and education, especially for my local Jamaican audience of teachers and parents who are navigating this kind of stuff. Like, I have had so many ideas and a lot of them I have not moved on because more than likely, I think because I'm sitting in this tension still. And maybe I really need to like do what some of my favorite coaches and creators and mentors often say to do, which is just take the action and the clarity will follow. And I don't think I'm necessarily even chasing clarity, because it's very clear that these systems are not just or ethical. I think we have started from the bars on the floor or even below the floor, actually, the bars in hell. And we've tried to raise it a bit, and it's now at the floor, like the bar is on the ground, right? So it's not that these systems are in any way, shape, or form just or ethical or right. I think we are all aware of that. I think that or maybe if you're not aware, I would ask you to grapple with the fact that every time you use Claude, you are enabling a system that disenfranchises potential local communities in the United States or wherever the Anthropic server farms are in the world. And also, you are complicit in a whole system of opaque tech supply chain practices that really, really exploit communities that have the raw resources that make the hardware that or tech runs on. I mean, bro, if you have a phone, you should really become aware of that. If you are watching me right now, you're locked in. You are in the cycle of complicit grossness. Okay? Like, I'm recording on this laptop with this webcam. I am part of the problem. And to be alive, unfortunately, is to be a part of the problem because you can't get away from it. You literally cannot get away from it. It's a problem for all of us. In textiles, in food, in construction, it's everywhere. This kind of lack of transparency, people being exploited, people being harmed for the sake of profit is everywhere. And so because we don't get away from it, I think that we kind of have to be intentional about how we grapple with the tension and maybe take more concrete action, not necessarily to come to clarity, because I don't think the tension goes away because, like I said, the bar is on the ground, because the system is broken, because people are being harmed and exploited, and you don't stop that without chopping your profit at the levels that you don't want to do that, you being these large corporations, right? They don't make the system transparent without sacrificing profit, and sacrificing profit is not something that they are willing to do. And so we already know that the system is broken, so coming to a sort of clarity is not necessarily clarity about the tension is not necessarily what I'm looking for. I think I'm more so looking for like what my action is and what an action is that I can sustain. And I have tons of different ideas that unfortunately I will also be operating within the system to build. In some cases not, but in many cases yes. But I think that each of us, if we have these devices, if we use Claude, they're all Claude, we our intention with these things, and I don't know how much we think about them, but I think about this every day when I use these platforms. I'm aware of it every day, and therefore I have a very complicated relationship with their old Claude. Super helpful, unethical, and deeply opaquely complicit. I'll leave it there, y'all. I'll leave it there. If you two have a complicated relationship with AI, I'm curious to hear what it looks like. Please leave your comments in the comments below. I would love to hear, or DM me on Instagram. I am available there as well. And if you have been watching these videos about everything I've been sharing about my work, working with my clients, my life, and they resonate with you and you catch my vibe and you're like, Chelsea, I like you. I feel like I'd like to work with you. How can I do that? I have 50% off my consultation hour that is available until May 8th. So if you want to grab a spot, all you have to do is click the link in the description box below. All right, y'all. I'll see you in the next one.